Hey, what's up, guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you the finals. That's right, the finals matchup for the NPL Tryout tournament versus Vepsis. Not surprised that all the Vepsis made it to the finals. He's got a great team. He got first overall pick and was able to get Broken Tapu Koko and a very nice team to support it. He's gone undefeated so far. He didn't lose any of his pool games. He didn't play one of them, but I guess there wasn't an activity decision on that. And he obviously won all his bracket games to get up to this point. And I've been knowing for a while that he's really wanted to get this automatic invite into the NPL. So it's great for him that he got this far. Unfortunate for him that he has to play me because I am not going to allow him to get that free invite into the NPL because I am going to win this game. No, he has a great shot to win this game, but I feel like it would be a mistake from the committee to not let him in, even if he loses this game. He definitely deserves to get in. And it's a very good player. I've known him for a while. We've in my second full season of Draft League, he was in that, and I beat him 2 out of the 3 times, but he beat me in playoffs. So I have that little bit of revenge to go for, but I think I have a couple like maybe 1 or 2 wins up on him overall in all our Draft League plays, and hopefully I can make that differential even bigger. But his team, which he also has a pretty different philosophy of his draft compared to what I drafted. So his team from most to least threatening is Mega Pidgeot, Heracross, Tapu Koko, Gliscor, Lickilicky, Ferrothorn, Tentacruel, Kyurem, Uxie, Alolan Raichu, and Incineroar. Now he has a lot of very bulky things on his team. He has the Gliscor, the Lickilicky, Ferrothorn, Tentacruel, Uxie, even the Kyurem if it's like a sub-roost set. And he also has all the hazards on his team except for Sticky Webs, with Ferrothorn, Gliscor being 2 really good rockers, Uxie as well, and then Ferrothorn with spikes and Tentacruel with toxic spikes. So ideally I don't want to allow hazards to get up on the field, and hopefully I can pressure his walls so that way I can force him to not have switch-ins and then maybe trade 1v1 at the end of the game, and then I should be in decent shape. Pidgeot I have as the most threatening thing against my team, just because Hurricane hits very hard and my resists to Hurricane or Mega Diancie and Aerodactyl. Mega Diancie gets knocked out by a Hidden Power Steel, and Aerodactyl gets 2 KO'd by Hidden Power Steel or Hidden Power Ice. I do outspeed with Aerodactyl, which is certainly a plus, but after rocks, it's going to be chipped down really low, so I do have to watch for that, but at least I won't be missing a Stone Edge on the Pidgeot because of no guard, which is great. He could run Hidden Power Ice as well, so that way my Garchomp isn't like a great like revenge answer to it if I don't know if he's Hidden Power Steel or Hidden Power Ice. And like Special Defense and Necrozma could maybe take on Pidgeot, but if he's Work Up, then that's definitely an issue. And if he's like Hurricane plus Hyper Beam, then that'll also do a lot of damage there. So I have to watch out for Pidgeot for sure. Heracross is also a pretty big issue. I do have Mega Diancie, which pretty much revenge kills any type of Heracross unless he's like Moxie, Choice Garf with like locked in the Earthquake, but that wouldn't be that good against my team. But otherwise, it takes hits from Garchomp pretty well unless if I go for a Z Outrage or a Z Fire move on it. Takes hits from Scolipede, Manaphy it can take a hit from and do a lot of damage back to me in return. Probably not kill, but do a lot of damage. It outspeeds my Necrozma if he wants it to. He could either run a lot of bulk and like take hits better from like Manaphy or Scolipede or Garchomp, or run a lot of speed and outspeed my Necrozma if I decide to bring a very speedy Necrozma. So that's something I gotta watch out for. You can also take a hit from the Conkeldurr and deal a lot of damage back to me in return, though I should be able to defeat it 1v1 if it's Conkeldurr versus Heracross just outright. Tapu Koko, best Pokemon in the format, and does pretty well against my team. Electric plus Fairy. Fairy's pretty well. Special defensive Necrozma and special defensive Decidueye. Both take those 2 moves on fairly well. Though if he's a Z Brave Bird, that'll knock out my Decidueye, so I do have to watch out for that. So really, special defensive Necrozma is the best way to take out Koko, but even then he could be Calm Mind, so I do have to watch out for that for sure. Gliscor is good as a Stealth Rock user and a status absorber once he gets to Toxic. orb up, but you can also agility pass into, what would he agility? Probably into Heracross. That would be the biggest thing, and that's what he's done a couple, I think twice. So far, he's agility passed into Heracross once or twice. So I do have to watch out for that. That's certainly an option. Licky is just bulky. Conkeldurr pretty much hard walls it, but otherwise I need like a lot of setup either on the physical or special side, because he can take Garchomp hits if he's physically defensive, and he can take like special defensive hits if I have a Mega Diancie out on him. So depending on what his spread is, he could take certain hits from one of the sides, probably not both of them. So I do want to kind of scout out what type of set if he's more special or physically defensive. He has Ferrothorn and Tentacruel, which can set up spikes and generally sponge hits. I want to have a lot of fire coverage, ideally on the team. I don't have fire mod on my team to hit the Ferrothorn harder, but Garchomp can have Fire, Fang, or Fire Blast. Manaphy, I guess, run Tin Power Fire, I suppose. Necrozma has Heat Wave. Aerodactyl can run Z Fire, Fang. Conkeldurr has Drain Punch. So that deals to the Ferrothorn and Tentacruel. Garchomp adds speeds. Mega Diancie adds speeds and does a lot. Manaphy has a Psychic, so Necrozma has Psychic, so I have answers for Tentacruel. Kyurem has a decent matchup. Like specs, I don't really have a whole lot for besides like a special defensive Necrozma takes it on okay. But I do have a lot of things like Garchomp, Mega Diancie that adds speeds, Golpede adds speeds and does a lot of damage to it. Aerodactyl as well. Conkeldurr does a lot of damage with Mach Punch, so I'm not terribly afraid of Kyurem, but if he gets a free switch in, then it's an issue. Uxie doesn't do a whole lot. It'll get up rocks and I'll be able to take a hit or two. So I just have to watch out for whatever coverage it could run. Alolan Raichu can be an issue. Again, special defensive Necrozma takes it on really no problem. Decidueye also takes it on pretty well. I don't have a great way to revenge kill it if it's in the terrain, but outside of terrain, the Garchomp, if it's Scarfed, would outspeed. Mega Diancie speed tides and Scolipede naturally outspeeds, as well as the Alolan Persian and Aerodactyl. So I'm not really expecting Raichu. It could come. The one mon I'm pretty confident it's not going to come is Incineroar, just because Garchomp outspeeds and kills, Mega Diancie outspeeds and kills. Scolipede does a lot with 2 Mega Horns onto it. Manaphy can set up on it. Really the only thing, Conkeldurr revenge kills it really easily. The only things it really handles well are the Necrozma and the Decidueye. And I feel like he has enough things in his team that handle Necrozma that he's not going to want to bring Incineroar in this matchup. So, again, the goal of my team, not to prevent hazards up, because he has hazard potential. Try to wear down and kill all his bulky mons, and then hopefully trade 1-for-1 with his offensive Pokemon, and then I should be able to win this game. So, the first Pokemon I have here is Conkeldurr. Facade, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Mach Punch with basically max HP and max attack. I haven't brought a Bulk Up yet. I've always brought 4 attacks when I've brought Conkeldurr. So hopefully, like if he brings the Gliscor as a physically defensive Gliscor is maybe somewhat of an answer to this, then I can bulk up on that. Or like if the Ferrothorn doesn't have Leech Seed, then I could potentially bulk up on that if he goes for Gyro Balls or Power Whips. I shouldn't be able to do a lot. And I can set up that way. I don't have to rely on Speed Pass, which, spoiler, I am going to be bringing in this match, to be effective in this game. So, the max HP allows me to take general hits, like from the Heracross very nicely. Usually you want to invest in special defense, depending on the matchup. But I really don't want to take a whole lot of special hits. Like, I don't want to take hits from Tapu Koko, and I don't want to take hits from the Alolan Raichu or the Mega Pidgeot. So really the bulk is there to take more physically oriented hits, but I'm pretty sure I can take a Psychic from Alolan Raichu, even Life Orb, with this HP investment. So that's certainly a nice benefit there, and I should be able to kill with Facade. So hopefully I can get a lot of Speed Pass into Conkeldurr, and then hopefully win the game. The speed allowed me to outspeed the Tapu Koko at +4 speed, I think. And then, if +6, I should definitely outspeed this entire team. I have Mega Diancie on the team, as I haven't really brought Mega Diancie yet as a endgame sweeper. I've really been bringing it as a Stealth Rock Deterrent, Stealth Rock Setter, and then just doing a lot of damage with Moonblast plus Diamond Storm, but I don't bring Diamond Storm this matchup. Moonblast hits this team really hard. Earth Power hits the Coco harder. I have a decent chance to kill Coco with Earth Power. I don't have a chance to kill a Moonblast, so that's a great benefit there. Earth Power also 2 KOs the Tentacruel, and it should not be able to knock me out in return with any one water move unless he's like Specs or something, which he wouldn't bring. Hidden Power Ice will kill the Gliscor unless he's special defensive, which I don't think really makes sense. I would imagine he's either like speed and agility, or if he's physically defensive to take on the Garchomp better. So Rock Polish and my speed. My speed is the speed creep stuff to outspeed my Necrozma. It's like his Kyurem could run enough speed to outspeed max speed timid Necrozma, and then I have a little bit of additional speed creep on top of that. So that's what I'm trying to aim for there. And hopefully Modest will do a lot more damage than Timid, but I still don't do a ton. Like, I won't be able to out damage like special defensive Licky. So if I can get it at least somewhat weakened, then I'm okay. Or if he's physically defensive, then I should be fine to get past that. So I do have to just watch out for Licky, and then hopefully Mega DNC can late game sweep. Next, I have another breaker on this team, which is Swords Dance Garchomp. Again, really trying to break down his defensive walls here, and then hopefully go 1-for-1 with my offensive threats versus his offensive threats, because my offense definitely beats his offense in this matchup. He just has to hope that his defensive counters can take my offensive threats. So, Dragonium Z, because his answers to Z Outrage would be to Tapu Koko, or the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's going to get bought by a Fire Fang, and Tapu Koko is going to get bought by an Earthquake, so they're not the most reliable. Dragonium Z switch-ins, and the speed will allow me to outspeed a max speed Tentacruel. He could bring that to a speed tie with like a max speed Manaphy, and then he could haze and prevent my Tail Glow boost, so at least like somewhat neuter that, though again Tapu Koko would just be able to revenge kill Manaphy pretty well anyway, unless I'm with Conberry. But anyway, this allowed me to outspeed Tentacruel. The special defense allows me to live a Hidden Power Ice or Dazzling Gleam, Life Orbed hit from Tapu Koko or from Raichu. So that's definitely a great benefit there, and I don't really need a ton of attack to, I don't need max attack to get any additional rolls anyway in this match. Swords Dance is probably not going to be used unless if I'm on like the Licky and he's Wish Protecting, or maybe on like a defensive Gliscor that's going to protect and try to get as much HP recovery as possible. Then I would Swords Dance on those. Otherwise, I'm going to just go for attacks and then hopefully catch like Uxie with an Outrage, or hit like the Ferrothorn with a Fire Fang, again weakening a lot of his defensive threats. The next Pokemon I have is Speed past Scolipede to get hopefully speed into my Conkeldurr, though I'll also be fine getting speed boost into or a sub even into Mega DNC or Garchomp, or maybe one of my last two mons, though I would doubt I would want to bash speed into my last two mons. But Protect, Substitute, Baton Pass, all pretty straightforward to how Scolipede functions as a speed pass user, and then Poison Jab is there to hit the Tapu Koko and the Pidgeot. Now I did have Earthquake on this for a while to kill or to a KO to Tentacruel, because Tentacruel is probably the best thing he has to eliminate the speed boost from Scolipede, because Tentacruel is Haze and it can go past my substitutes. His other phasing options would be like Taunt or Roar and Incineroar, but I don't think he's going to bring Incineroar to this game. Or if he brings like Taunt Gliscor. But even if he taunts Gliscor, I can protect on that, figure out if he's taunt, and then Baton Pass anyway. The only way Taunt Gliscor would work against my Scolipede is if I substitute on it and he goes for the taunt right away. But which I wouldn't do that. I would protect first turn against Gliscor, and then if he taunts, I could at least Baton Pass a +1 speed boost out in the Conkeldurr, or maybe one of my last two Pokemon. So I'm not too worried about Gliscor taunting, and then Tapu Koko technically gets Roar, and Mega Pidgeot technically gets Whirlwind, but I would highly doubt either of those two would bring it, so I would figure a Haze Tentacruel is his best answer for Scolipede. So if I could 2-hit KO with Earthquake and maybe even get behind a substitute, that would be awesome. But I really want something to hit Pidgeot with. And if I could protect and then Poison Jab, that'll do like 50% to make a Pidgeot. So depending how weakened it is, that'll be a great way to try to get some damage on it. Because otherwise it's going to be fairly hard to get damage on Pidgeot without chipping it down with Stealth Rocks and then hopefully getting a Mach Punch kill with Conkeldurr. So the next Pokemon I have is going to be my lead, and that's going to be Focus Sash Necrozma. A little bit weird. Stealth Rocks, Photon Geyser, Earth Power, Heat Wave. Now this hits a lot of what I think his leads are. So Heat Wave obviously hits the Ferrothorn. It should, if he's special defensive, it lives, but it'll do a ton of damage regardless if he's special defensive or not. Or like Akaberry obviously lives at Earth Power. Has a decent chance to kill the Koko, and Photon Geyser wouldn't kill it. So that's a plus there. The Earth Power also does a ton of damage to the Incineroar in case he does bring Incineroar as his answer to Necrozma. I should be able to 2-hit KO it. Unless he's like max HP at Assault Vest, which, I mean, could be a possibility, but I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense versus my team. And then Stealth Rock's there to get them up early game. It would be nice to get like a move to hit the Uxie or the Licky, and that could be toxic on this set, but I really want to have the Heat Wave, Earth Power, and Photon Geyser all to hit his team pretty hard. So just go max special attack, don't really need any bulk on this set, and then just max speed to hopefully outspeed. I will guaranteed outspeed the Incineroar unless he's Scarfed, and then hopefully outspeed like a no speed Gliscor, or like a very slow Tentacruel or Kyurem. So, last Pokemon I bring is the Decidueye with Toxic Roost, U-Turn, Spirit Shackle with mixed defenses. The defenses will allow me to live 2 Life Orb Psysocks from Alolan Raichu, and then I'd be able to roost up, hopefully wear down with Life Orb hits and beat a 1v1 or just kill with Spirit Shackle eventually. And I also live a Hurricane from Mega Pidgeot I believe if there's no rocks up. I'm not entirely sure. That's probably not going to come into play. I mean, generally, I want to have a lot of special defense bulk to also take on top of Koko really well. Like, Life Orb, Pin Power, Ice, or Dazzling Gleam's not going to do a ton of this Decidueye. It's definitely not going to 2-hit KO after rocks. And having a little bit of defense bulk is nice in case the Koko is Fly or Brave Bird, so I can take that hit a little bit better. If he's like a lot of attack or if he's flying EMZ, then he'll knock me out most likely. So that's unfortunate, but having the mixed defenses is also nice to take less hits from like a Gyro Ball, Ferrothorn, or like a Ice Punch from a Licky. If he wants to run Ice Punch for Garchomp, I should be able to take that a lot better. And I should also be able to take one hit from the Heracross, and I'm not going to be able to do much in return, but I'll be able to do at least a little bit of damage. So that's my team. I'm pretty confident in it, honestly. Shout outs to Omega Jolteon for a little bit of help, not much help, but a little bit of help in my team prep and just looking over my team. So let's get right into the game. All right, here we are for the championship battle versus Vepsis. Pretty exciting here. And I'm also super excited that he did not bring Mega Pidgeot or Heracross, which were probably the two most things I was threatened to have, just because Heracross is such a good breaker against my team except for the Mega DNC. So I'm glad I don't have to worry about that, and especially Mega Pidgeot. Mega Pidgeot would have outsped my entire team that I brought because I did not bring the Aerodactyl or a Choice Scarf mon on this team, so only protect Scolipede plus whatever speed boost I bring into whatever mon on my team, plus a Mach Punch Conkeldurr would have outsped. So that's great, I don't have to deal with a super fast threat there. And really, looking at his team, the only fast and offensively scary mon he has is the Koko. Now, I guess he could be like a defensive Calm Mind Uxie set. Ferrothorn's probably going to be Spikes. The Kyurem could be Sub Roost or even like Choice Specs potentially, because I don't really have a great Choice Specs switch in. Like Manaphy takes Ice moves but not Dragon moves. Other way around for Mega DNC, and he could have Flash Cannon anyway. Gliscor could be Sword Stance, but I don't think that accomplishes a whole lot unless he has like a Dual Dance set with Ice Fang potentially. So really the only offensive thing I'm worried about is Coco. So again, if I could, my goal of this team was to just break down his big fat as soon as possible, stop hazards getting off on my side of the field, and then hopefully just trade 1-for-1 with my offensive threats, and then win the game that way. So as I said in my team builder, the lead I'm going to have is my Necrozma, because it really matches up well against his potential leads, except for Yuxi, which he does lead with, which is unfortunate. It's not the end of the world. At worst, I can just Heat Wave and probably do about 25% to it, and then from there I can figure out what his spread if it's even more physically or especially defensive, and eventually get rocks up. He'll probably get rocks up here, but I'm okay with that. I'm not terribly weak to rocks, and he does not appreciate the rocks as much just because he has the Kieran, which will get worn down a lot more than anything else in my team, because Golipede is leftovers and protect, and any damage on the Coco is certainly nice. So I'm going to just lead and go for my rocks, and he goes for the rocks and outspeeds me, which is a little bit weird. I have a lot of speed. I'm max speed modest on my Necrozma, so I mean Yuxi still can run a decent amount of speed and still outspeed, but that's fine. It could be a more offensive set to potentially outspeed stuff that stuff that could be faster but wouldn't invest in a lot of speed, like my Garchomp. I might not bring a lot of speed on that, though I probably would want to outspeed Kieran, which would be a speed tie there, so that'd be a little strange. Maybe he wanted to outspeed my Necrozma and Decidueye, like guaranteed, so that's definitely fine. At this point, I'm going to just go for the Heat Wave because it's the hardest hitting move I have. On his to hit his Yuxi, and he switches out and goes into Gliscor, which I'm definitely fine with because I get a decent chip off. And I also thought it was kind of weird that he hard switched out of Yuxi. I thought he would have U-turned, would have made more sense. In the back of my head, I have to consider that Yuxi could be Choice Scarf just because he went for rocks and switched out. Obviously, if he Scarfed, he wouldn't stay in for multiple turns. He could also just be a fast set. I have no idea, but I have to play under the assumption that he is Choice Scarf, especially because he really doesn't have a ton of offensive things on his team otherwise. Though Scarf Yuxi would be kind of weird, but maybe, I don't know. But regardless, his Heat Wave damage definitely puts in a range in Photon Geyser. This looks like a max HP spread on this Gliscor based on the damage I did. So as long as he's not a max HP, max speed set, then I should be able to outstall this Gliscor. And even if he's max HP and max speed, Photon Geyser is going to be doing like 70%. So eventually I should be able to out-damage the recovery that he's giving between Roost plus Toxic Orb. But fortunately I do add speed and kill with my Photon Geyser. So I have a 5-4 lead. And most importantly, well, that's pretty important there, but I also have my Focus Sash intact, which is great because I am Focus Sash. I'm not worried about a Z Thunderbolt from Tapu Koko or a Draco Meteor from this Specs Kyurem if he does bring it. So I'm perfectly fine with just staying in and going for a Photon Geyser. He doesn't really have a great switch into this besides Yuxi, which I guess he could have just gone into Yuxi right there if that was his best answer. So I guess he assumes that he can outbeat me 1v1 with this Kyurem. But I'm going to just go for the Photon Geyser, hopefully I outspeed. And I do. He is more of a bulkier spread based on the damage that I do here. And his Ice Beam does a lot to me in return. This shows that he is modest choice specs. But he has a lot of, I guess, HP and some special defense bulk based on the damage I did to him. But I still do 43%. That is a lot of damage from modest Necrozma. So at this point, I'm in pretty good shape. He's either going to switch out, and if he switches out, his Kyurem is going to be under 10%. So I should be able to revenge kill it with anything on my team except for the Decidueye, because he'll probably outspeed me. But if he stays in, I'll be able to knock it out, which, again, it's a great thing. I'll be up 6-4, and we basically traded rocks, so that's a great exchange for me. If he switches out, then something's going to be taking a lot of chip damage, because nothing really wants to take a Photon Geyser, but he just going to Ferrothorn, which is weird because I just showed Heat Wave, but I guess maybe as Akaberry. But actually, based on this damage I do, it's actually pretty little, because if he was max HP, max special defense, Ferrothorn is what had done 16% minimum from modest Necrozma. So this actually tells me he's at Salt Fest, which is fine with me. I'm not going to kill with Heat Wave, regardless, unless if I get a crit, but At least I'll weaken him a ton where I can revenge kill him with basically, I think, anything on my team except for the Scolipede, obviously, because they only have Poison Jab. So I'm okay with this. So I'm going to just stay in, go for the Heat Wave, bring it down super low. I'm not able to kill. In return, he's going to kill me with a Gyro Ball. Now, again, I figured that he was Choice Scarf based on the damage that he did before. So I feel like this is the best time for me to go into Scolipede here. Scolipede has a pretty free opportunity to set up and Baton Pass speed, because I know he's at Assault Vest, so he's not going to be able to set up spikes on me as I'm going for my Protect, Substitute, Baton Pass shenanigans here. So at worst, he'll just be breaking my sub continuously. And if he has, I guess he's Gyro Ball, obviously, Power Whip, I guess Knock Off, and maybe Iron Head would be his 4 damaging moves. I'm not sure. I might be able to get a Substitute up. I'm not entirely sure. So hopefully that'll work out for me. So I'm going to go into Scolipede and go for the fun Protect, Substitute shenanigans and keep doing this over and over again. Again, I know that he is Assault Vest, so I'm not worried about losing a little bit of momentum by letting him set up spikes on me for free. So I'm going to just continuously go for Substitutes and Protects while covering some HP with Protect and Leftovers until I'm at +4 speed. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Again, keep continuously Protect substituting. Now, I guess he could have switched out of here. His options for breaking through my speed passing, as I'm pretty sure I mentioned in my team builder, were Taunt Gliscor or Haze Tentacruel based on what he has left on his team. And Taunt Gliscor is obviously down, so he has Haze Tentacruel sitting in the back. But he doesn't know what my last move is, which I did consider Earthquake. But I took that off last second to hit the Mega Pidgeot better. Obviously, Earthquake would have been significantly better in this matchup to hit the Tentacruel harder, hit the Coco still really hard, and be able to hit this Ferrothorn here. So, unfortunately, I'm not able to damage this at all, but I'm okay with this because I have my +4 speed in, and I'll be able to pass it. I wanted to get max speed here, even though I did lose a little bit more HP, just because I know that the Uxie has a chance to be Choice Scarf. So I want to get as much of the speed boost into this as possible because I have the EVs on my Conkeldurr to be designed to outspeed a Topic Coco that's not Scarfed at +4, but Uxie would outspeed that. So if I get the +6 speed, I should definitely be okay with any potential speed tiers from his team. So now I have a +6 Conkeldurr in front of his Ferrothorn. Last turn he went for a knockoff, and he could go for it again here, but he goes for the Gyro Bulb and does some decent damage here. Knockoff could have been okay, maybe even preferred. If he went for the knockoff there, then I would have gone for a bulk up, and then he would have gone for Gyro Ball, would have done 30-ish%. I wouldn't be losing HP from my Flame Orb, and I'll still have I'll have more offensive. Well, I guess I'd be a little bit weaker. I guess I'd be as strong as like a Flame Orb boosted Facade does +1 damage. So my Facades would be doing less, but my Drain Punches would be doing the same if I had a +1 bulk up boost up. But I also would have the speed and not losing HP. So there were the drawbacks. We went for the knockoff there, but because he already did about half damage to me, it really doesn't make sense for me to go for the bulk up at this point. I'm going to just go for Drain Punch and kill this, or if he switches into Uxie, it's probably not going to take a Drain Punch plus a Facade, so I'm able to get this kill on the Ferrothorn, and I have a +6 speed Conkeldurr in, and he doesn't have anything to outspeed this, so he goes into Tentacruel here. A little bit weird. I felt like the Uxie was probably a better switch in here, but I guess he has the Tentacruel design to be able to live a Gust boosted Facade and be able to do something to me in return. But I do have a lot of HP bulk, so I might be able to live this hit, maybe even after the burn, and then at least we could just trade 1v1 with this Conkeldurr on this Tentacruel. So I go for the Sod, does not knock it out. He does have enough investment to live. And it Guts boosted Facade after Rocks, that's good planning on Vepsis' part. But the problem is, even after a Haze, I still have my Conkeldurr in. His Tentacruel is low, and I can kill with a Mach Punch. So he could switch into Uxie here, but he's basically going to be sacrificing his Tentacruel unless he has Defog Coco, and I don't think a Tentacruel at that low HP is going to be really doing much at all, especially because I know he has a defensive Tentacruel based on the damage I did with Facade. So I'm able to knock out the Tentacruel. Nikiram is basically dead and has less than 10% HP, which, unless he gets a Roost up or unless the Coco defogs, he'll be hopefully low throughout the entire match. Gliscor's down, Ferrothorn's down, Tentacruel's down. So really he only has 2 healthy Mons left at the sacrifice of my Necrozma, plus my Conkeldurr being basically dead, and my Scolipede being at somewhat half health. So I'm definitely okay with this basically 4 for 2.5 Pokemon exchange here, so I definitely broke down his bulk on his team. I stopped the hazards just besides Stealth Rocks, even though he didn't have spikes on his Ferrothorn, and now the last thing is just hopefully just trading 1 for 1 with this Coco and Uxie, and I should be in decent shape here. So I'm going to get Revenge Kill by anything. He goes into Uxie, Mach Punch wouldn't have done much in case he maybe misses a move or goes for a Reflect or a Light Screen or something. Facade would have done decent damage, but he kills me to Zen Headbutt. Again, I'm still worried that he could be Scarfed, but I think regardless my best play is just to go into my Decidueye, because I'll be able to take hits decently well with my physical defense bulk. And I also am going to go for the Spirit Shackle here just because I don't want to give the Kyurem potential chance to come in for free and Roost up. So again, I'm going to continuously attack with this Decidueye with Spirit Shackle. I get flinched, which is pretty unfortunate based on this damage. He's actually an Adamant Uxie, so at this point I'm 100% confident that he's Choice Scarf Uxie. So that flinch would have been unfortunate just because I could have trapped Uxie, and unless if he flinched me or critted me multiple times, then I could have been at a healthier HP because I could have roosted, not being worried about the Kyurem coming in and roosting up on free because I am trapping the Uxie with Spirit Shackle. So he is going to switch out into Coco here. Again, going for Spirit Shackle, so make sure I don't give a free switch in into Kyurem. I do not a lot of damage, okay amount of damage. This shows he has a little bit of HP investment. I got a pretty low roll, which doesn't matter a whole lot. At least I know he can't switch out unless he Volt switches, which isn't going to do much to me. And I should be able to live any hit based on my special defense investment, unless if he's Brave Bird or like a Flying EMZ set. So he actually does go for the Brave Bird and crit, and kills me. Crit shouldn't have mattered, but that's at least I have this Coco very low and he hasn't shown an item yet. So I'm assuming that he's Z Brave Bird and he's going to try to burn it off later in the match to break through my Scolipede's Protect. So this Tapu Koko still has... it's still very scary, and he can definitely win this match with this Tapu Koko. So I definitely have to watch out for this Pokemon. At this point in the game, I'm going to go into Garchomp, because I know he can't knock me out unless if he's like... Even if he has a lot of special attack investment, he won't be able to knock me out with Hidden Power Ice or Dazzling Gleam, because my Garchomp is able to live a Hidden Power Ice or Dazzling Gleam from Life Orb Coco. So I know he's not Life Orb, so unless he's like Z, like, what's it, Twin Needle Tackle or something from a Dazzling Gleam, then that would knock me out, but otherwise I'm pretty confident I can live this hit. Now I'm going to go for the Earthquake. I go for the Earthquake because I killed his Coco, killed a Kyurem if he switches it in. And even if he goes into Uxie on my Earthquake, I should be able to kill with an Outrage, because his Ice Punch will not be able to knock me out, unless if he freezes, which would be pretty unfortunate based on the stuff that happened with Decidueye. So he brings in a Uxie. I'm pretty confident that I'm able to live this hit and kill him in return, which I'm able to do. I do live this Ice Punch, and I'm able to kill with an Outrage in return. He could have U-turned into Coco there. That would have been pretty risky, but at the same point, he could have lived this Devastating Drake. Obviously, because it's Coco, and he would be able to kill me in return. And then at that point, it would have been pretty iffy. I guess my Diancie would have came in there, and I think I had still a decent chance to win. I would just Rock Polish up and then hopefully do a lot of damage to the last 2 remaining Mons, and do at least enough damage with Mega Diancie Moonblast plus Poison Jab onto the Uxie. But unfortunate, he doesn't have U-turn. I think he had Ice Punch, Iron Tail for the Mega Diancie, and then Zen Headbutt. So he didn't have U-turn to make that double switch play there. He could have just hard switched, predicting the Z Outrage, but I was in a pretty good position to win at this point regardless. So he does bring in a Coco, goes for the Dazzling Gleam, and knocks out my Garchomp, which is fine. I should be able to live any hit unless he's like Hidden Power Steel or Max Attack Steel Wing from Coco would be able to knock me out, but even so I can protect with my Scolipede and win the game. He goes for the Dazzling Gleam, does not do enough, and kills me with the Moonblast. Even with this, Dazzling Gleam damage doesn't do a lot, and I later figure out that he was Choice Scarf. So the Brave Bird was also not attack boosted. I don't remember if it was minus attack or if it was just no attack investment Coco. But regardless, he only would have done about 50 to 60% on my Decidueye with his Coco, so I could have knocked him out with a Spirit Shackle after the Brave Bird recoil, and then it would have been an even easier time to win this game at the end here. But fortunately, he was Choice Scarfed, Coco plus Uxie, so I am able to win the NPL Tryout Tournament, which will guarantee me a spot in the NPL Majors, which is certainly a pretty cool thing. NPL is one of the most prestigious leagues out there, so it'll be a pretty cool opportunity to try it for a season and see how well I do. I guess I'll probably do a video later talking about that. So, good game to Vepsis. Hopefully you can make it into the NPL. I feel like you definitely should, and probably honestly deserve a spot in Majors. You played pretty well throughout this whole tournament, going undefeated, but I told you in my team builder you weren't going to get past me. But it's okay. It was a fun game regardless. But until next time, guys, later.